terms of the picks. Because of the priorities and the heavy focus on the AD carries, as well as those jungle picks, it means Cotnex has only really got Evelynn to fall back on. I doubt he's going to run Kha'Zix in the jungle again. It wasn't good yesterday.
I'm pretty sure the team decided that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, well, it happened yesterday. So this is the thing that makes me laugh. They decided now. How could it happen yesterday? Regardless, Evelynn is up, Jarvan is up if they want to go that route. And against Ziggs in the mid lane, Overpow, I doubt he's going to run Xerath. It's too immobile, especially when he starts charging up that Arcano Pulse in his Q. So a lot of time being burned through, and we need to see what he's going to opt for.
Well, it's going to be Jax in that top lane for Xaxus, the champion he's run a few times before. Morgana, of course, also locked in for VandeR. Almost the de facto support choice right now, if available, along with Nami.
And it's going to be tough for Roccat to make this team composition potentially work, because yesterday they also ran a Jax top lane into Fnatic. Fnatic ran a Ziggs top lane. So if MILLENIUM really want to surprise people, hell, they could lock in Orianna now and go for something similar. But I don't know if they've got the coordination to play that style. Their team fights are not necessarily as crisp. So with the Ziggs being locked in, I think for Kevin, something like Irelia or Aatrox, maybe Renekton's, a champion that can dive in alongside Evelynn and then use the poke damage from Ziggs, plus that assassination power of Renekton and Evelynn, might be the way they're going to go for.
Yeah, Renekton locked in. I was going to say, I don't see Kevin. He's a bruiser player through and through, not really want to adopt to a Ziggs like Soaz has. Of course, Evelynn was locked in for Cotnex. That Holy Trinity continues throughout 4.10, it seems, in the jungle.
So very standard picks thus far, and on the side of MILLENIUM, you don't really have hard engage. Evelynn needs to flank, Renekton needs to run straight at you, and with a single target stun being the only hard CC on the side of MILLENIUM, Morgana can counter that. I feel like MILLENIUM are leaving their support pick to last to potentially lock in a Leona for Jree. He's played it 5 times this split. Thresh is available if he wants to go that route and go for the pick option. But I feel like Leona may be something they want, maybe something they're considering. And this may be why we're seeing like the likes of a mobile AD carry. Celaver could go Caitlyn, Celaver could go Corki, but he had a very good game on Corki a few weeks ago.
Well, it is Ryze in mid lane. We thought we may get treated with something new from Overpow, but instead he's fallen back to a tried and tested. Not sure how that one's going to work out against the Ziggs in the mid lane. We did see it in Korea last week, I believe it was. I remember seeing a Ryze versus Ziggs. As it stands, Corki being picked up once again by Celaver. I tried this one yesterday.
Yeah, he did, and in terms of the first game that he played, it was Caitlyn and then Corki. My most impressive performance on him on Corki was actually over in London, if memory serves, and managed to put together some strong showings. Corki can do well against Lucian in lane because of the burst factor. He's got the trade with his Phosphorus Bomb, along with the Black Shield from Morgana to at least survive potential Thresh engages or Leona engages in this scenario. But Roccat have once again got a team that needs time to scale up. If Jankos is not omnipresent and helping out this Jax or this Ryze, they can and will be bullied and pushed around. Renekton's going to make Jax's life difficult, and Ziggs is going to make Ryze's life difficult in the early stages of the game. So a lot of pressure on Jankos on this Lee Sin to move around, support the lanes, and try get Ryze and Jax to a split-pushing power or team-fighting power spike.
We'll see how it works out for them. Of course, MILLENIUM locking in Thresh as their final champion choice alongside Lucian. Standard lane matchup there against the Corki, Morgana. Corki seen as the counter to Lucian these days.
Yeah, I think counter is probably a strong word, but he's definitely on
equal trade.
Equal trade. Yeah. I think that's a better way to put it. And the one thing that I do like about the Thresh pick is it allows Jree to put the peel down. It allows Jree to knock Jax or Lee Sin away with a Flay, put the box down, and zone out multiple members of Roccat. Because Roccat have the same problem that MILLENIUM have in this team comp. They are reliant on a champion either flanking and surprising their opponents, or just running straight at them. So on the odd chance a Dark Binding or a Death Sentence lands, yes, there's your clear engage. But until that point, it's on the junglers and the top laners to run around from the sides and get involved.
It worries me. Deficio said the same thing yesterday in one of the Roccat games. That went on for 50 minutes. We'll see how this one goes, of course, with each team coming out. Who has the edge in this one? Tweet hashtag Roccat or hashtag MILLENIUM or MILLWIN. Remember to get that one right. To @LOL Esports, and we'll see who you think landed the stronger lineup.
Once again, Roccat have late game scaling. They don't necessarily have the late game decision making to go with their late game scaling team.
But it's okay because neither do MILLENIUM.
that's the thing. MILLENIUM have only ever thrived on pick comps, have only ever thrived when they've got champions that can blow somebody up and then force an objective. With the Ziggs locked in there, with the Renekton, they can force objectives and they can play the siege game very effectively, especially with the Thresh for all of the peel and the protection he offers. But we need to see if they can force those objectives. We need to see if they can move around the map efficiently and strategically enough.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 of Superweek underway for day 2 here. And it is Roccat starting out as the blue team up against MILLENIUM as the red team. Who will come out ahead? Will MILLENIUM manage to garner themselves some sort of advantage? Can they start picking people off? Or will Roccat manage to build up their super-powered champions and get it to the late game?
So the two people that I'm going to be watching on MILLENIUM's side this game will be Kevin on Renekton to see how effectively he can either bully Xaxus and how he moves around the map. Secondarily to that is which Jree will we see today? Because Jree on Thresh has had some incredible Thresh games. And then he has also had some uninspiring Thresh games, is the way I think I'm going to put this one. And, you know, we've seen MILLENIUM dismantle Super Hot Crew during the last split, where Jree just landed hook after hook after hook. But, yeah, I haven't necessarily seen that same level in the summer split. And it does look like Roccat with a little bit of an early vision advantage, thanks to some jungle wards.
Oh, double ward posted down. And Roccat moving in force, actually, for this one. There is a MILLENIUM ward there, and it's going to get swept very early on. I actually didn't notice that one getting picked up by Overpow.
Yeah, so Roccat with the psych out play, that's either going to force MILLENIUM to use another trinket ward, which obviously gives Roccat the small vision advantage. In addition, it also makes them wonder, are they going to invade? Do they want to invade? Etc., etc. Nevertheless, the ward goes down, and it looks like Roccat are just going to double up, defend their own blue buff. MILLENIUM starting on the red buff side of the jungle as the spawns are coming up. So no invades, no steals for both games of the day.
No.
Advantage MILLENIUM.
Well, that was very precursive. Expected a bit more from that one, but no. No big fight starting out level 1, and it will be the battle to see who hits level 2 first. Will it be Celaver and VandeR, or will it be Creaton and Jree? The junglers both starting off red and blue start for them, and immediately Celaver starting out throwing out his abilities. Overpow not winning that trade, that's for sure.
That was definitely not worth it. With Ziggs having the ability to empower his auto attacks and having the range advantage with those bouncing bombs, Overpow is playing so aggressive. He can't afford to do this.
Ignite already used, choking down those potions, but he's got next to no health left, and Kerp just trying to bully him out early on here. Xaxus doing the same thing on Kevin. It's funny, we talked about yesterday how Adrian goes crazy aggressive on the Jax versus Renekton. Seems that Xaxus has been taking a note out of his book.
Cornex
coming in for the steal. He's going to come around and fight Jankos. Jankos takes a hell of a lot of damage in the background there from Cornex. He was tanking up the red buff as well. Remember, Overpow, he's already taken some serious damage from Kerp. Kerp coming around the side there. Red buff taken away. Cornex gets that. He's going to be forced to flash away. He's into the pit. Jankos follows through and gets himself first blood.
Now Jankos takes some dragon damage. Overpow, or Kerp rather, looking for some pressure. The hook lands onto VandeR.
Oh, this is an early engage from MILLENIUM. Do they want it? They catch the shot. Creaton gets himself killed on towards it. VandeR bounted through. Double buff for Creaton, as you mentioned. Celaver taking some damage. Jree, the death sentence is not going to be up for a while. And that bouncing bomb catching on the side of the map. So it wasn't quite able to bounce on through on Celaver.
That is a massive swing for MILLENIUM. Yes, they did give up first blood because Cornex was caught out. But Overpow now has no flash available to him. VandeR has no flash available to him. Jankos has got no flash. So if MILLENIUM can set up any ganks, punishing those abilities, that's going to be good for them. More importantly, you've given Creaton double buffs on Lucian. He is going to absolutely wreck this lane if Celaver or VandeR try to trade with him. And I want to see how effective he can use these buffs. About a third of the cooldown has been already burned through. And I think if he can come back and grab a decent CS lead, he can bully Celaver and VandeR around.
Of course, getting that first blood could maybe build towards that build toward a cut. As you can see the beginning of it, Xaxus taking some serious punishment from Kevin in that top lane. He's going to have to go back and buy mid lane. Overpow getting caught on. A good play comes out. Kerp goes on towards him. Kerp gets himself the kill. MILLENIUM in the driving seat.
Textbook. Overpow flashes to land the Rune Prison on Cornex. Cornex is going to be well aware of the timing available, and thanks to the fact that, Kerp has just got such strong range, that was an easy kill. Cornex can rinse and repeat and just, keep getting those snowball rolling even further.
Xaxus starting to miss out on a couple of CS there. Bottom lane, we can see VandeR Acceptor was picked up by Creaton on that first back. Of course, he's got himself double buffs. Teleport from Kevin rejoins that top lane. Xaxus under pressure in that top lane as well. Both gone for Doran's Blade and Shield. Coming in armed Knights, and Cornex, he's looking to pay a visit to the top lane now. Nope, going to back off.
Yeah, so in terms of the lane matchups, you can see the supports are only just getting back to this bottom lane. Creaton does go aggressive onto Celaver, an instant rocket jump away, Valkyrie away rather. But until the supports were there, Creaton and Celaver had actually been farming quite passively, quite patiently. So Creaton not getting the absolute utmost out of these double buffs.
Overpow starting off with a tier as well. That's going to put him even further behind in that lane, while the Chalice is already well underway by Kerp. Xaxus getting caught out with the stun again from Kevin, tries to turn it around, but the aggression is simply not there, and Kevin is not fearful of Xaxus anymore.
Yeah, I really want to see how Kevin decides to itemize in this lane. We've seen Renekton's going, you know, Ravenous Hydra, we've seen Renekton's going Blade of the Rune King, and against a Jax and a Ryze who do build tanky as the game goes later, having a Blade of the Rune King on Renekton with 3 strikes from your empowered W is going to shred a lot of effective HP. 8% of current health per auto attack when you've got that above Fury W down, and it will help so much in the mid-game power spike if he goes that route. Overpow still has no flash. It's a counter gank though, as Jankos is coming in from top. So 2v2, they're going in.
Well, Kerp's already thrown out that satchel charge, and that's actually missed completely, so he's going to have to try and run away from this one. Jankos with one more hit. Overpow wants to close in, but Cornex running defensive duties. They're going to chase him down and see if he can catch him onto range here. Cornex keep on pushing. Kerp yet to go back. Look at Jankos. He smells blood in the air. Overpow turns the aggression back onto Cornex, and MILLENIUM this time have to back away.
So good damage from both of the respective junglers and mid laners. And thanks to Overpow getting multiple bounces on that flex on his E, it just shredded the magic resistance of both Kerp as well as Cornex. So Kank was counted, no kill secured.
So top lane, we saw some pressure there. Cornex is making a return visit. Remember, Overpow's flash is down. Kerp's is down as well, though, and that's dangerous, dangerous stuff. Overpow can at least tank some of that damage. This time, Satchel Charge blows him in towards him. Kerp will go down, but Cornex will get revenge.
So good trading once again, 1v1. Jankos looking to contest with Cornex, but you can see the focus. Cornex definitely wanting to get Kerp ahead. If Kerp can get an item lead and a gold lead with Ziggs, he can punish the late game scaling of that Jax and that Ryze. So MILLENIUM putting a lot of resources into that plane. Jree playing super aggressive.
Yeah, just dodging out, sidestepping away from that Dark Binding, not going to land. And you know, Celaver and VandeR actually have kept up quite nicely in this lane, despite the punishment they had early on. Death Sentence not landing again. Creaton's double buff has now worn off. Of course, he got that kill very early on. Phosphorus Bomb traded on towards Creaton, dashes away, making sure that Dark Binding does not catch on. Overpower's going to get himself blue buff for the mid lane, of course, building up towards that
Catalyst
of the Protector.
Into
So
Rod of
we've got
Ages.
this here on there. Rod of Ages will be picked up. Kerp is going to clear out himself a pink ward.
Successfully accomplished. MILLENIUM done well to keep themselves the kill lead. I really like Cornex's gank rotations in that mid lane. He definitely punished Overpow while his flash was down, but now that his flash is available, I'd like to see Cornex trying to impact some of the other lanes. It does actually look like he's moving towards Xaxus in the top lane, but there is a ward there, so Xaxus should be able to, but it's not a pink ward, they're going in.
Dominus run, he's get caught straight out. Cornex is going to come in. Xaxus is so down, he's not going to get away from this one. The question is, who will be given the kill? It's Cornex.
So I think may have been better to give that to Kevin, regardless. Very well played. Kevin was able to bait Xaxus into a very big fight, completely engaged. And, you know, just all too easy, really, for MILLENIUM to grab themselves that kill. No real pressure on any of the towers, and I think MILLENIUM will be happy with that. The more time that they have to get Cornex ganking and get Cornex roaming, the happier that they will be. And they've got a CS lead in every single one of their lanes. So MILLENIUM just pulling further and further ahead. And this is something Roccat have struggled with a lot. They always fall behind at 10 and 20 minute marks against their opponents, especially in recent games.
It's something that the European teams have to look at. And if you think back to Season 3 World Championships, it's something that all of the European teams suffered from, falling behind in lane against the Asian opposition. Of course, that's a worry because coming up soon will be those World Championships. They are getting ever closer. We're already halfway through the season, ladies and gentlemen, so it's not too far away now, even though you may be thinking, looking at your calendar, thinking the October finals date that has been gifted out there. is a long way away. Not really for these teams involved.
And look at this, Koprianiuk once again going to be in the same position as Jankos. I think he's moving around the vision and Overpow's aware of it. So Overpow and Jankos can jump onto Koprianiuk if he moves in vision range of that pink ward. Keep this in mind, it's in the bush. So this is going to be a 2-on-1. But you can see something's up. Koprianiuk playing very defensively. The moment Kerp left lane, he had obviously called that Overpow wasn't there, and nothing comes of that potential gank. So good read from both teams, I think.
I think they saw the pink ward going down, which is why Koprianiuk was sticking right against the edge of that map. They're making sure he didn't get spotted out. Instead, didn't go aggressive, backs away. Who will be going aggressive? It's going to be Creaton in this bottom lane. Lantern was thrown out there, not going to get taken. Simply giving the shield across the Creaton. That
was a very good example of how and why Corki can trade with Lucian. With a Phosphorus Bomb, as well as one of those rockets, trading with the piercing light from Lucian and his passive, they come away with relatively the same HP. The one thing is, Celaver's got fairly high mana costs, and he's burning through his mana very, very heavily. So as he continues to spam and trade with Creaton, Jree and Creaton will just keep pushing forward. And had that death sentence connected, you do feel that Jree would have gone in.
Very, very close death sentence. Top laners, Bilgewater Cutlass was picked up by Xaxus. Last time he backed away, Kevin's just returning to lane, got himself the Giant's Belt along with the Vampiric Scepter. We'll see how that trade goes towards him. Of course, it does mean MILLENIUM are going to go aggressive. Teleport available for Kevin, but not for Xaxus. So you've got to feel that MILLENIUM are going to take this dragon with ease.
Yeah, no one from Roccat is around. They have no vision of the dragon pit. So other than an educated guess, seeing people leaving their lanes, Roccat were not in position to contest that dragon. And truthfully, they wouldn't want to. When you see that Ziggs is up, Evelyn's up, you don't want to fight in those stages. So wave has been cleared here by Kevin. And this would need to be a very aggressive dive from Roccat. There's no minions yet. Overpow got spotted.
Overpow just showed himself, yeah.
Yep, he stepped out. That was an overpowered gank, definitely.
That was a novice mistake, honestly, from Overpow. That's clearly showing the pressure that is on their shoulders right now to keep getting victories. Xaxus has pushed that wave in towards the top tower. Kevin is just going to be very cautious in his approach, but Koprianiuk, of course, showing that Overpower's up there. He knows Jankos would have been alongside him. It gives him time to come in, clear up the pink.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at the last backs, with the dragon, the kill, Creaton has got a Blade of the Ruined King completed at 12 minutes on the clock. He is 700 gold ahead of Celaver. And if you're going to compare combat effectiveness, Celaver is going to be 100% reliant on getting an ability damage, followed by a Sheen proc, and then trying to back off. Because if he gets into an auto-attack battle with Creaton and his Blade of the Ruined King, Creaton is going to destroy Celaver. So I expect Creaton and Jree to get more aggressive in this bottom lane, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Koprianiuk trying to set up some ganks because of that big power spike.
Celaver's going to have to be cautious. He hasn't got VandeR alongside him right now, so Jree could honestly just come along and zone him out. Now VandeR does rejoin. We'll see how this trade goes between them. Top lane is very clear between them, so nothing going on up there right now. This is the absolute focus, this bottom lane pairing, now that Creaton has that new item.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out for him in terms of this top lane. Koprianiuk again repeat gank, and Xaxus, can he get away this time?
Well, Xaxus did have flash available to him last time, didn't use it. This time, Agony's Embrace does not catch on Xaxus, and he may well be able to get away. He diving on towards a Jax on a turret is a dangerous thing at the best of times, and this time, Flash was burnt and saved.
Well, at least they got his Flash, so Xaxus can be punished for it later. There is a fair amount of damage on this top lane turret, so had Xaxus backed away, Kevin and Koprianiuk could have taken it down. Xaxus does have the support of Jankos, though, so tower is defended for the time being. And this is definitely one of the longer laning phases that we have had. 13.5 minutes has just been a single dragon, and the teams look fairly content. It's interesting to see MILLENIUM let it go this long because of the fact there's a Ryze and a Jax at scale. 2v2, here come the junglers.
Oh, he's going to have to slide away. Kevin almost caught out, but he goes back aggressive, and straight away Xaxus is in trouble. The kick from Jankos simply launches him to the side, and still the kill goes the way of MILLENIUM.
Jree can turn this around if he wants to.
Dark Binding on Jree. Let's see which way he's going to go. Celaver, Black Shield, a great hook on VandeR. Jree follows through, throws down his ultimate. The damage from Creaton still not really focused there, and Celaver actually putting down more damage than Creaton.
Yeah, definitely the case, but Creaton wasn't getting too many auto attacks, and he held onto the culling as well. What they did do is they burned Flash from Celaver and Flash from VandeR. So even though effective HP is in favor of Roccat, MILLENIUM come out ahead in terms of the summoner spell trade.
Creaton taking some damage from that Phosphorus Bomb, forces him back away. Let's see how it works out for him. Jankos coming around here. He's going to find Jree. Jree already in a dangerous situation. Pulls the wall down. Will spot him out there. He knows he's got the support of Koprianiuk, and they're thinking of going towards a death sentence. Didn't throw it out. Overpow looking to try and zone Kerp away from this blue buff area. He's going to have to run through mines. What are you doing, Overpow? He's going full on aggressive. He's completely got out of position. Mega Photobomb not even close to landing from Kerp there. The Ignite going down. Overpow diving deep on this one. He will get himself the kill, but where the hell is he going to go?
Here comes Koprianiuk. He's coming in from behind. The rest of MILLENIUM are trying to respond. Look for Creaton and Jree. They want to find Roccat.
Oh, Jree caught out. Jankos putting the damage down. Overpow comes in. He explodes him. And now the Dark Binding catching on towards it. Kevin teleports in, slides on through, and takes down Overpow. And well, MILLENIUM having a couple of mistakes there as Overpow just goes insanely aggressive.
Very sloppy play, I think, from both teams. Overpow obviously going very, very deep without much support from the rest of his team. He tower dove past the inner turret in the mid lane. MILLENIUM were also unable, that's close, were unable to react. Not only did Roccat come out ahead, 1 for 2 in terms of kills, they also got the teleport down from Kevin because Kevin was forced to respond. So tower secured as well as red buff. So a lot of action very quickly, and Roccat showing signs of life. Roccat committing to plays, regardless of their strategic value.
One thing is absolutely sure, you cannot leave a Jax alone in lane for too long, because Xaxus, you can see he's already on the tower in the top lane. He's taken down the top outer turret. Now he's still putting some damage on towards the inner turret. He's already shredded half the hit points off. Absolutely going horrendously wrong for MILLENIUM in the lane phase there. Roccat just gaining everything from that crazy play of Overpow.
All of that was just for a red buff. That was what Kevin teleported down to do. Yes, they're going to kill an Overpow, but they stole a red buff away. And I do feel that Creaton was very hesitant on the culling. You've seen him just use the culling there to clear out the minion wave, and he didn't use it in the fights that had landed previously. He did have enough mana for, you know, the jungle invade and the jungle combat, but he's just playing, you know, playing safe, holding on to it. There's a lot of vision for MILLENIUM, so this should be a fairly safe invade. 2v2, no AD carry.
Celaver going to be the focus. Now they're going to turn it straight towards VandeR. Soul Shackles is pulled out there. Creaton's still not with them. Not too sure why they're going into this 2v2. Koprianiuk's going to try and put the damage down on towards him. Quickly turns it back around on and towards him. And that was incredibly bad play from MILLENIUM. I don't know what they're doing right now.
Koprianiuk, I can only theorize, wanted to avoid the Soul Shackle stun. And he tried to move away from it the whole time, taking auto attack damage and pokes from Celaver. Instantly going down and was out of range for the hate spike. So he couldn't actually kill Celaver at the end of the fight. So Celaver gets away, gets himself his first kill of the game, and he grabs himself a red buff. It's all just a little messy for both of these teams at the moment, and Roccat are the ones that are coming out ahead.
I'm not going to argue there's kills. That's what counts for me. 6-5 so far. MILLENIUM have that advantage. It's 1,000 gold differential. Dragon is up. Pink water falling left, right, and center as Overpow gets another one to the joy of the crowd. Not going to get that one, I'm afraid. And MILLENIUM now moving into position for this Dragon.
So I want to actually say that an aggressive Roccat is a positive thing for the team, because one of their limiting factors in all of their games previously is how passive they were. They almost seemed content to just let their opponents win because they were playing to not lose as opposed to playing to win the game. So while these invades and these movements seem chaotic and interesting, it is positive for a team like Roccat, who have generally been much slower and generally been much more afraid to do anything.
Speaking of afraid, Kerp's been throwing those mines down at his feet every single time he goes near anyone. He's so fearful of someone jumping on his head, just like Xaxus can do. Instead, this time the mines will clear out the minions. Celaver and Creaton been going head-to-head down this bottom lane. Creaton, of course, with the CS advantage, did have that double buff early on, so not too surprised by that one. Mid lane, Overpow, he's fell behind on Kerp, but got himself those 2 kills and assists.
Yeah, and it is something you do also expect in terms of that match. Next, he's found Celaver and Jankos.
This time around, Jankos kicks him away. Mega Inferno Bomb not going to land, completely whiffing out there, and that's a couple of big spells burnt by MILLENIUM.
Yes, but they did get the Dragon's Rage kick out of Jankos as well, so the engage power is not there if the Dragon fight were to break out. A lot of the AoE is down, so I feel if a fight were to break out here, the pressure's on Jree to get a good box and to zone Roccat out. Let's see how effective it is.
Teleport coming in, didn't see exactly, he's coming back, see behind them, so Overpow's the only man that they're chasing away here. Creaton was zoned out single-handedly, flash jump being caught out with the counter strike. Creaton taking very low on this one, they're going to focus on towards him. The question is, can MILLENIUM react? They managed to catch down a support. Celaver dives in towards them, Xaxus comes in, pounces on towards Koprianiuk. Koprianiuk's going down. Roccat trying to back out of this one. It's a 2-for-2 fight. but with Xaxus and Overpow still alive,
Not
you've
over
got to
yet.
feel Roccat are the stronger of the two. Look how aggressive he's going, straight in towards it. Dead Sentinel's pulled in, the rest of his team not on the same page. Now the counter-strike comes in towards Kevin. He goes down, Cornex gets another kill. On towards Overpow right off the side there. Cornex taking so low, Jankos on towards Jree. Xaxus does not get Cornex down. It's a 3-for-3 in the end.
3 for 3 in the big picture, and another team fight that is just all sorts of messy. Creaton was completely out of position. Take a look at this. His whole team is running up through the river. Now, yes, you can't really predict a flash leap strike engage from Xaxus, but Creaton should never have been that far away from his team to begin with. I like the box usage from Jree, albeit it may have been a tiny bit too early. He could have afforded a few more seconds to be more disruptive in this sort of mid-game or mid-fight stage. And another scenario, Overpow now decides to pull a Creaton, and he just commits by himself without the support of his team, which obviously ends up costing him his life. If Roccat didn't have such strong duelists, this could have gone worse. But both teams making a multitude of mistakes and coming out even in terms of kills and gold at the end of it.
Yeah, you got to wonder if Overpow had have gone in with Xaxus,
Yep.
then suddenly it would have been different. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Binding landed. Jree this time going to focus on Celaver caught in. Death sentence on him. Roccat have to disengage. The question is, can they? Kevin's going to try and catch on towards him. Mega and Phonobomb only catching on the back side of Jankos. This time, MILLENIUM will get that dragon.
So this time around, it's Roccat with a positional error. Even though they were throwing out all of their CC, it ended up being somewhat of a bait. They landed the connection onto Jree, and as Roccat moved forward, their whole team didn't commit. You needed Overpow and Xaxus in the front line. They weren't. Celaver gets caught, so MILLENIUM get the second dragon of the game. And a whole lot more kills for Cortinix. 5, 2, and 5. He's got 100% kill participation for his team, because he's really been the one that's been starting fights and engagements for MILLENIUM.
Yeah, that's a very fed Evelyn right there. That could cause some serious problems as these fights start to develop, especially if it keeps so crazy aggressive there. The minions are going to take down that tower. It's the first one of the game for MILLENIUM. We saw, of course, Roccat peeled off. They got the red buff stolen away. Jankos managed to get in and get that one. Xaxus cleared out that top wave as well. So everybody's going to step back, buy themselves some items.
So MILLENIUM have extended their gold lead ever so slightly. But the last time they did, it was Roccat that forced things back. Roccat moved themselves around the map and forced the fights that gave Jankos his 4 kills. I actually think we need to do some number crunching on Rockat's side, because in the games that Roccat play, Jankos secures a whole lot of his team's kills. Had those 4 kills been distributed to Overpow, to Celaver, to Xaxus, it could even accelerate their late game spike that they're looking for.
A lot of Ward fans in the house today, that's for sure. That's another one going down. VandeR this time helping out on that one. Aegis of Legion actually, first item completed correctly for VandeR, so interested to see. The supports, of course, have changed a fair bit in 4.10, and that is one of the items we have seen them falling back to.
Yeah, and you know, with that Mikhail's Crucible, the name that I do remember at this stage of the day, it's just opened up these different build paths. And unless there is a lot of CC on your opponent's team, we've not seen that item very often at all. And my most interesting one is noticing which Threshers decide to go for the Relic Shield or going for the Ancient Coin builds, as Jree is obviously working himself towards that face of the mountain. Currently got a Targon's Brace built in there. And I believe the makings of an Aegis himself with that Negatron Cloak and Ruby Crystal.
Good dark binding on Kerp, followed up. Gradually, Jankos careful, almost caught out with pink bait. Top tower does go down. Kevin was the one that bullied that one out, so that gives a 2-2 even trade in towers. MILLENIUM focusing on this mid turret, trying to push Roccat away from it, but got to be careful, because if they do get caught out by one of those Overpow Rune Prisons, it will be a big problem for whoever's involved.
So this is good to see, though. MILLENIUM are grouping, they're sieging, they're using the power of a blue buff Ziggs to try and shut the tower down. This is a strategy that they don't often use because they're so reliant on their burst damage. They did realize that Kevin had no teleport, so he has in fact come to join the team, and this is just going to be a 5-man stack, using the power of Ziggs and the blue buff to go for the tower.
Oh, Jankos thought about it. Rune Prison called on Kevin. Jankos wants to kick someone, but no easy targets. Creaton was the one he was focusing on towards. Creaton quickly used that Blade of the Rune King onto Jankos, and Roccat defend it briefly as they try and push back on towards it. MILLENIUM did get themselves that middle turret. Scrying Orb used. Xaxus looking to get involved.
Very important to actually note that Xaxus used his teleport for the impending team fight, and Kevin was able to slice and dice to safety, and we actually seen Creaton using his Blade of the Ruined King, but it's not going to be enough to defend this inner turret, because Xaxus, again, he's looking for a fight, and the rest of Roccat, they're returning the siege with the siege of their own.
Yeah, the Connex is actually looking to flank around himself, so if they were to push too hard, he would have come around the back. So cautious play from both of these teams, but with that tower not there anymore to back them up, Roccat are suddenly feeling the need to back away from this one. They're also lacking a little bit in the vision, as are MILLENIUM. If you look across the board, the siege has been going on for so long that all the wards have timed out and everybody's having to get back out there and get themselves some vision to start pushing the waves. Creaton is going to farm out this big bottom wave.
Yeah, if you contrast this game to the previous game, you can really see a difference in the number of wards being placed. We're at 25 minutes on the clock. There are 4 sweepers on the side of MILLENIUM and hardly any wards in their inventory. They really need to get some river and jungle vision for plays, and I expect that to happen in the next 30 to 40 seconds in anticipation of the dragon fight. Both of these teams have attempted to fight around the last dragon, and they should both be aware of the timer. So let's see if Roccat can put their hands on it. Keep in mind though, Kevin's got teleport, Xaxus does not. So it'll be up to Xaxus to move himself into the right area of the map to be relevant.
Pounces in there, doesn't quite catch Kevin sliding away. Kevin 2-0-5, going about his business quietly at the moment in that top lane, whereas of course Xaxus almost got that Trinity Force complete, will be getting stronger as this game rolls on through. Overpow as well, we saw it of course with Selfie yesterday for the Super Hot crew. Those Ryze will become strong. Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen a late Ryze. Once they get incredibly strong, all items built up, they are very tricky to shut down. Unless, of course, you catch them out like Frogman was doing.
Yeah, if you can position yourself correctly, you can focus them down. You know, Overpow, he's got that Rod of Ages, he's stacking it up. I think it's actually getting very close to completed. Is completed, in fact, along with that Seraph's Embrace. I want to see where he goes with his tanky items, because there is a good mixture of both physical and magic damage on the side of MILLENIUM. So, you know, a Frozen Heart would not be a bad idea. Reduce the attack speed on this Blade of the Ruined King Creaton. The only problem for Roccat is they do need to get through those death sentences, Agony's Embrace, minefields. So we'll see if they can make that work for them. Now, MILLENIUM, 2v2. 2v much more now, as Roccat have got support. Doesn't look like they're going to get their hands on the blue buff.
Yeah, taking that blue buff away from Overpow is a pretty big deal, that's for sure. Jree hooks on towards it. MILLENIUM are looking for a full fight here. They've got a ward down.
Celaver's not there.
We can see Connex, he can smite this one away and will take it, and that's going to take it off towards Overpow. Jree caught out, Dart Binding on Connex. He's going to be the focus, has to use that Agony's Embrace to get the shield on him, and slides the safety on the Lantern.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it was Cottonex that smited that blue buff, did manage to get his hands on it and nick that away from Roccat. And all of that happened because of the fact that Celaver was shoving out the bottom wave. Celaver was getting rid of those minions and trying to force MILLENIUM's hand. So Dragon is up. Again, not all that much vision. So teams are playing with instincts and spidey senses. Let's see if Roccat can look to engage, because again, there's no super hard engage with the exception of that Counter-Strike.
MILLENIUM dangerously grouped up close together there. Xaxus was eyeing up another flash Counter-Strike on towards them. They bought themselves some time in this mid lane. Roccat take that turret down there now, even 3-3. Roccat is still pushing here. MILLENIUM are slow to react to this one. I think this is going to be a trade in a turret for Dragon.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case. Kerp did use his Mega Inferno Bomb, but I doubt it's going to be enough. You could see that Overpow was in fact tanking the objective. So Dragon for inner turret. Roccat, I think will probably be happier with that trade. They will be able to start team fighting for the next dragon or the following one, but they've got the inner turret down in the mid lane, which allows them to rotate for buffs. But now all of a sudden it's Roccat who caught with the pants around the ankles, and MILLENIUM looking to siege.
Well, remember, Overpow tanked up that. Of course, Celaver was taking a lot of damage, so they can't get involved in this one. Overpow caught out around the side. Connex, vision given to them, but MILLENIUM, they're going to try and get themselves in the inner turret, but Roccat are there, all trying to defend this one desperately. That tower going down though, and MILLENIUM get themselves another. They are even at 4-4 apiece, both mid lane turrets all down.
It's just a little bit of a comedy of errors here between teams. No, MILLENIUM opt to go for Dragon, Roccat punish by going inner turret. Roccat then slow to back away and defend their tower, so MILLENIUM punish. And it just seems that every time one team makes somewhat of a misplay or is out of position, their opponents do punish them for it. So, you know, good play from MILLENIUM to at least bring themselves back ahead again in gold. but it is still a small gold advantage, only 4,000. And at some point, Roccat are going to start doing very well. Rockat's Jax and Ryze will start punishing the likes of Renekton and Evelyn.
Main thing it seems to be is they're more reactive plays rather than actually thinking ahead. They're not deciding this is going to happen, so we need to make sure this and this is covered off to prevent us losing out on it. And they just seem to be not doing that right now. MILLENIUM going to try and force the aggression once again. Dark Binding not the land. Pink ward being cleared out, and that dragon that's taken away Baron vision from Roccat. And Roccat are going to maybe sweep in and try and do the same. 30-minute mark about to be reached by these two teams. No CS records being hit despite the crazy aggression. 18 kills actually now. That was actually in about 20 minutes. We haven't seen a kill for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's also Overpow that actually gave up both of those CS records. Overpow's playing Lulu into Orianna and simply had no lane presence. Has done a better job on Ryze, mostly because he's been the target of Kerp's auto attacks and poke. So Kerp hasn't been focusing as heavily on that CS. Ooh. That death sentence went wide. Jankos should be able to walk away. MILLENIUM again looking to set up a siege. We need to keep our eyes on the mana pool that Kerp has got available to him. He's picked up that Void Staff, and I think MILLENIUM can theoretically siege. They just don't want to get jumped on or flanked by Xaxus. That's the big thing for them. So side vision is very important for them.
Yeah, side wards for Roccat. Oh, Jankos this time around caught out with the stun. Hooked in as well with the death sentence. A lot of damage going down towards him. A good play. He does manage to jump away from this one. There was no follow-up.
Too early on the play actually from Jree. If he had hesitated to try to interrupt that safeguard, could have worked out in his favor. Nevertheless, does allow them to force Jankos away. So they've no, it just looks like clearing up vision. Yeah. You know, if they'd done more damage or killed Jankos, maybe they would have started it, considered it. But it's one of those situations you actually don't want to clump up because there's a lot of AoE damage from Ryze and from Corki with the Gatling gun, the rockets, the phosphorus bombs. Caught next, he's got two.
This time Agony's Embrace is used, Mega Inferno Bomb catching both of them where they stand. Jankos goes in aggressive though. Konek's taking a hell of a lot of the brunt of the damage there. Creaton wanted to get the vision on towards them to finish them off, but they've got to be so cautious of Xaxus flanking around the side.
Two flashes burned on the side of MILLENIUM from Kotrinex and from Jree for that engage, and they don't manage to pick up the kills onto Overpow and Celaver. They were able to get away thanks to the tankiness that Overpow has actually built up for himself. But again, MILLENIUM trying to punish Roccat for being somewhat out of position. Roccat just shoving out the wave and getting collapsed upon. I think we're going to be in for a Baron dance of fairly epic proportions here between these teams because of the fact that they're relying on their opponent's mispositions to be punished by their, you know, either flanks or they're just straight up, I run at you, bro, to start a fight.
Well, bottom lane pushed in. That's going to get reacted to by Xaxus. He's got his home guards. He's going to steam straight out of there. Still no tanky items built up by him. Mercury Treads, of course, to prevent himself getting locked down too long. That wave is going to get cleared out. Kevin himself got that teleport up. Overpowered this time. Blue buff is picked up. Baron started off. Scrying Orb not available for Roccat. It was used early on. They will get vision though. Here comes the teleport. Xaxus coming in. Jankos tries to get a little bit too close, but immediately is forced away by the Cullen. He hasn't gone down yet though. Baron being peeled away from by MILLENIUM, and this is a delayed fight. Xaxus once again just waiting for the counter strike to come back off cooldown. Jree getting caught out with the Dark Point, and there's the Mega Inferno Bomb catching onto two of them. Rockat's going to get focused on towards, but the damage is going down nicely from Overpow. He's still alive around the side there. Kerp does manage to get himself one kill. Celaver replies. He goes back on towards Kevin, gets himself a second, and now it's a 2 for 2 between the two teams. Roccat have to peel away from this one though.
2 for 2 and completely even. Top laners and supports going down, and MILLENIUM do not pick up the Baron. So Roccat a little late to respond, forced to use the teleport. So in the grand scheme of things, MILLENIUM could potentially play a split push game to try and take advantage of that. Roccat and MILLENIUM are just throwing everything at each other, and because neither team can 100% lock down their opponents, all of these fights just get messy. Celaver is untouched as MILLENIUM are trying to focus down Overpow and Xaxus, and Overpow manages to get away thanks to that very beefy shield from his Seraph's Embrace. And you have to give props for Celaver. He had a good positioning. He got a lot of damage down with his Trinity Force and Infinity Edge. So, you know, it's good from both sides, but it is also sloppy because they're not getting onto the same targets and not focusing down quickly enough.
Chunk of pink wards being picked up by Roccat. Let's see if they can make use of them. 59% of you now, that vote's down to definitely swinging. MILLENIUM still in the driving seat. They were ahead, of course, in the original vote. Still only a 3,000 gold advantage. Dragon up in 2 seconds. Roccat already in position for that one. That's going to draw that gold ever so closer. That won't last very long. And actually, MILLENIUM might get caught out of position if they try and go too hard on this one.
Yeah, there's so many members of Roccat nearby. Keep in mind, Kevin can join the party as long as a ward goes down, but there's not that many wards on MILLENIUM's side. 4 reds and a yellow trinket, comparison to 4 reds and a blue trinket for Roccat. So a lot of vision denial is on the cards, and both teams are just looking for team fights. Both teams are just looking for straight up engages because they haven't actually put much effort into the split pushing or much effort into the tower pressure. I do think Roccat have done a better job because almost every time you look at the mini-map, there are minions pushing MILLENIUM's bottom in a turret. So they are doing a good job of keeping that lane pushed out.
Blue have taken away from Kerp. The problem, see how the cooldown affects on him as Roccat continue to farm out just about everything close by. Celaver actually down the bottom golems, taking that away, but again, MILLENIUM have got no vision of the jungle area of even themselves. They've only just warded that out. They've really just got those few wards, and Roccat way ahead in vision right now over MILLENIUM. You can see they're sweeping out, making sure they've got the Baron pit covered off here. And MILLENIUM, without a scrying orb, have to try and get them some vision in towards this river area. Xaxus trying to jump on towards Kevin. He's just going to slide away. He's got the support of Cotnex. Not going to follow through.
All too easy for Kevin. And while Roccat do have the vision advantage, let's see if they can use it. Because having a vision advantage means you either punish your opponents for mispositions or you pull them into areas you want them. Cotnex gets spotted out, so you're going to have a 2v2, but I think Overpow and Xaxus would most likely come out ahead in that particular scenario. So again, it's just both teams battling over vision supremacy, not necessarily battling over objective supremacy with vision, if that makes any sense. Kevin, there's our pink ward, and MILLENIUM just brute forcing their way in. They've grouped up, and they're going to take over Baron pit control vision shortly.
Yeah, Roccat simply stepped away from that one. Didn't want to fight for it, let MILLENIUM come in as a 5, sweep through, clear all the wards.
I think we could have predicted that. 41 minutes is Rockat's
I reckon
average
they're going to do it again
time.
now, and Roccat are going to come in and put all their wards down.
So you see, like this is the point. Instead of making use of the vision to try and bait, like if Roccat wanted to pull a Baron bait, they could have backed away, allowed MILLENIUM to get all the way up, and maybe lull them into a false sense of security. Try push out the waves. But because Xaxus doesn't have teleport available, Roccat don't really have that. We'll send someone away and we'll make you think the teleport time is long enough to cause a problem. And unfortunately, neither team is really demonstrating any sort of ability or tactical plan to take their opponents.
This is actually potentially a problem, although Jankos starting out the Baron himself was not the whole issue. Roccat could try and sell him a dummy and actually two-man it with Xaxus and Jankos.
Oh, definitely the case. Xaxus with Blade of the Rune King and that Trinity Force can shred through Baron with somebody tanking it up. And, you know, even with the sort of engaged long-range spells connecting, nobody is around to respond. Nobody's around to make a play happen. I would love to have seen MILLENIUM trying to push out the bottom wave or push out the top wave and
pushing the mid.
You know, just get the power of Zig's bombs under a tower in your advantage. If MILLENIUM had more wards, they could ward up the blue or the red side of Rockat's jungle and then just try and pull Roccat towards them. Use the peel and the bombs and the range of Ziggs and Thresh. Now, Kevin, not even at threat because Jankos doesn't want to boot him backwards. You don't want to kick Renekton into the middle of your team.
No, they're going to go and clear that top wave, clear out the wards, and do the same again. Rinse, repeat. This is honestly a serious problem that the bottom teams always face. And you know, you look at the likes of SK, despite the fact, of course, they did just get destroyed by Alliance. They do not generally have these problems. They know ways around it. They read the game 2-3 steps ahead, and it seems that MILLENIUM Roccat, they're just simply reacting and not reading the game.
This is the thing that teams like Alliance and SK and Fnatic yesterday do, is they force a tower. They will go through the jungle, they will take advantage of your lack of vision, and they will just sneak a tower away. With the amount of armor that Cotnex and Kevin have built up, they are, you know, easily able to do that. Celaver is in the mid lane. This means MILLENIUM want to go in. Let's see if Xaxus can get away.
They catch on towards Xaxus. Good dart binding. Xaxus steps away. Celaver's on towards the inhibitor turret. That's going to be Xaxus. Oh, he jumps away with the counter strike. No, he's going to get caught with the Mega Inferno bomb. The Wolf catching on towards him, but that's going to be the inhibitor turret going down. Celaver catching on to that. MILLENIUM only got a kill. They didn't get the Baron. They didn't even go towards it. And Celaver and Overpow, they've taken the inhibitor. MILLENIUM totally caught out. Jankos stopping Cotnex in his tracks. VandeR's coming around the side. side that's preventing them from backing away, and Roccat finally make a play.
Yeah, with the super minions in that middle lane, that's going to give them the tools to make the plays that they want. And MILLENIUM committed so many objectives to that kill, ultimates rather, to the kill. I have to say, LCS big play goes to the Blue Wolf because it trapped Jax from getting around. Now they've caught Kerp out.
Kerp caught out. Jree's instead going to be the focus target, but there's not enough damage focused on towards him. Roccat got to be careful. There's still only 4v5 here, which is why they're stepping away. Xaxus is up in 6 seconds, and he has teleport available, which is why MILLENIUM, they're too late to start this Baron. Look at the bottom lane. He could even go there.
We need to see if Roccat peel away from that one. With a 4-man, they could still contest in the Baron pit, but they want Baron dealing damage from the back line. Overpow has no flash available. He's looking to cut them off. Overpow's going to come from the back line if they want to start the fight, and instead, they've just scared Roccat away. And because Xaxus teleported to Baron, he cannot teleport to bottom.
That wave is going to cause problems in the bottom wave. I think Roccat are going to get themselves another tower here. There's a massive minion wave down that bottom area. You can see the range minions doing all of the damage. It's another turret for Roccat that's going to go down, and MILLENIUM, they've just spent way too long. They had the advantage, and they've thrown it away trying to bait the Baron, and Roccat didn't fall for it.
Yeah, that's it. MILLENIUM jumped on a kill opportunity, and that was a positive play from Roccat. Roccat did bait MILLENIUM. They didn't use Baron. They used the potential of kills by showing champions in other lanes, and MILLENIUM just took it. Hook, line, and sinker. Now, with super minions in the middle lane, the pressure is once again on Roccat to do a similar thing. Get some vision down in different areas of the map, and then try to push these side lanes. Minions have taken the bottom lane, but it took, I'm going to say 13 or 14 minutes from the first time that I've seen Celaver shoving that wave out and Xaxus shoving that wave out to get the tower. And we need to see if Roccat can be more effective getting the top inner turret down.
But gold lead is now going to go to Roccat as this dragon goes down. Everybody, of course, close to level 18, apart from VandeR, who, of course, is only level 13. Nevertheless, for the first time in a long time, Roccat have the lead. They steal away the blue buff, and MILLENIUM are kind of floundering here. They haven't really got a response to Roccat. We talked about it at the start. Roccat, they are a late game team.
Yeah, and the problem for MILLENIUM is they don't have anybody that can deal with Xaxus' Jax. With Blade and Trinity Force, and we'll see what he upgrades his Chain Vest and Megatron if he goes to Jree, not sure. But regardless, with his tanky stats and the damage he can put out, he is a great one-on-one duelist. Renekton does have an item advantage for the time being, but very shortly will not be able to handle Jax alone. So super minions have been shoved out. MILLENIUM are forcing Rockat's hands. Once again, Overpow's looking to cut off MILLENIUM. He wants to come in from behind, flank them, and prevent their exit. And I think he's got a good attempt. I think they're going in. Here's the fight.
They're going to try and turn Cornexo, taking all of the damage, front-loaded. Overpow comes around the back, just explodes the AD carry. Cornex scored out. He's going to be the next focus. Overpow does go down. It's a trade, even back and forth. Kevin taking all the damage. Xaxus, if he can pounce on towards him, will get another kill. Kevin goes down. It's Celaver that gets that one. Kerp, though, still pretty low. Does manage to get on towards Celaver. It's a double there. Xaxus is going to turn the damage around the land to pulls him in, but Jankos gets himself a double. Comes back around. Kerp goes down. Gets a shutdown nonetheless, but Roccat come out on top. They get themselves the ace.
Now there are super minions pushing through towards that middle of the base. Xaxus and VandeR are setting their sights on more objectives and more towers. Another team fight that, in theory, looked okay, but took such a long time for Overpow to get involved that he just got blown up. So the two things to note, Creaton in the back line is about to get melted, and as he gets shut down by Jankos and Overpow, the rest of MILLENIUM are able to get some good damage and split up the team of Roccat. So this ends up meaning MILLENIUM can trade 3 for 5. The problem is, it is very late in the game, and that scary Jax that we talked about is monstrous. He survives the entire fight, manages to get away and actually grabs that top lane inhibitor as well.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. So 2 inhibitors now down for MILLENIUM. That advantage they had, they must be looking at this game. They need to check out the replays and think, what did we do wrong? We stood around and we basically cleared wards for 30 minutes.
What did we do wrong? Not a lot. What did we do? Nothing. That's the problem. It's not proactive enough. It's not forcing objectives. It's not putting yourself in positions where you can punish your opponent and create a lead. Instead, you're waiting for your opponent to make a mistake. And Roccat, while they made a few mistakes, they weren't big enough to really cost them. You know, Roccat are just down 4 towers to 9. They've got super minions in the top lane, an exposed inhibitor. And what did MILLENIUM do? They go clear some more wards.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's obviously easy for us to look at the whole
Yes.
map. We have the whole view of the situation. It's very different for the teams themselves. But MILLENIUM are going to look at this and think they get caught in this situation so often, so long they have these Baron dances. And again, when they have that split pusher, they go with 4-on-1. Kevin will go up the top, Xaxus will go up the top. Kevin will go down the bottom, Xaxus will go down the bottom. They need to be pushing multiple lanes if they want to try and go for the Baron.
I completely agree with you. And when MILLENIUM have the lead, yeah, we have the luxury of full map vision. Hell, MILLENIUM can buy wards to get it. They've caught Kevin, and they're going in.
He's going to lock in there, but Connex tries to come around the side. Agony's embrace. Jankos goes aggressive on towards this one, kicks him back in there. Xaxus is going to lock him up with the counter-strike, and he goes down. Now Jree's going to get focused upon. He gets turned down there. Kevin's trying to do tanking as much as damage as he can. Mega Inferno Bomb stops Roccat in their tracks, but it's a 2 for 0.
So managing to catch Kevin, and unfortunately because MILLENIUM are not on the same page, they just get melted under the pressure and the focus of Roccat. Baron has respawned, sitting there. And I just think, for Rockat's side, they've got enough of a lead and they've got champions that can force team fights. They don't need to be afraid. As long as they're grouped up and not separated, they can simply overpower their opponents. And they've grouped up as a 5-man, 4-man rather, and going to get the second inhibitor.
Flash is available for that man in the middle. Inhibitor will go down, and Overpow and crew maybe will back off, and you can see Jankos already moving towards that Baron pit. 13 seconds on the spawn for Cotnex. This time around they could start it and take it. Pink ward having to be used to clear out vision, but there's no reason why they shouldn't just go straight for it.
No, red buff secured on the way out. And there's very little MILLENIUM can do. And I just think Roccat, they waited patiently. Seizing it stolen? No, not this time. Roccat did a good job of holding out. And while it was made easier because MILLENIUM didn't play super proactively, we set it in picks and bans. If this game goes late, Xaxus can split push, Overpow's become a monster. And it just is hit that point where MILLENIUM cannot burn through absolutely everybody.
Quick silver slash has been picked up by Celaver. He's going to make sure he doesn't get locked up this time around. Avoiding Kevin has been the man that's been throwing himself towards him along with Jree. So Roccat with the Baron buff. 2 inhibitors down for MILLENIUM. Now going to focus, it seems, on the bottom lane. They want to do it by the numbers, tutorial style, take every single tower and inhibitor down. Roccat clearing out all of their jungle, and all 5 members moving en masse in towards this blue buff and bottom lane.
And they could have done that with Xaxus a little earlier, but that is of course hindsight. With super minions in 2 lanes, I think they're just going to play patient. And now we can see how and where Roccat decide to engage. Because they do have a GA, Frozen Heart, Randian's Omens on multiple champions, they can even tower dive. And I think that might not be a bad idea for them. If you force MILLENIUM to start a fight when they're slightly split up or when they're not really prepared for it, you can just use your champions that have so much damage and so much, AoE to shred through people. Celaver's also got that blue buff, so he's going to be able to continually spam all of his spells and make MILLENIUM's life even more difficult.
Oh, Kevin, you don't want this fight. Overpow's going to be joining you. Cotnex tries to come around the side, but look at that. Kevin shredded half the hit points off him before Overpow comes around. While this is happening, they're pushing the bottom lane now. That's going to be an inhibitor they're forcing on. It's a 3-2 split. They're trying to defend this one off. Cotnex taking damage. Xaxus jumps on towards him. The rest of MILLENIUM peel up there. Can they get the damage down on Roccat because they're leaving themselves exposed down the bottom? Mega Inferno Bomb not going to get the kill. Roccat do not manage to finish off Creaton. Oh, it's a risky fight. That's only a Guardian Angel he's popped. Jankos comes back around, gets on towards it. Kevin caught out. Jankos gets hooked in. He will go down. Now Roccat come back around. They will get themselves the inhibitor. Meanwhile, they didn't get anything in the bottom. And that was a 1-for-1 trade. But that top laner, that big tank, is no longer with MILLENIUM.
No, he is not, but they did get the GA down from Xaxus. The thing is, Xaxus and Overpow were in a 2v3 situation with MILLENIUM, and arguably, you could say they could have been winning. Xaxus and Overpow were half in, half out. Overpow full retreat, Xaxus decided to re-engage and carry on fighting. If Celaver and the rest of Roccat had not returned, MILLENIUM may have been able to pick up some more kills along the route, and look at that gold difference. Roccat being 3,000-4,000 gold down have now accelerated to close to 8,000-9,000 gold up.
It's a big swing, that's for sure. It all stood around that deliberation, that lack of decision-making, honestly, on MILLENIUM's part. Nobody willing to risk it. We talked about Roccat, how scared they were of risking any big decisive movements. Well, MILLENIUM absolutely caught doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I do think that Roccat should probably have put more emphasis on getting that bottom lane tower and inhibitor. if they had lost Jankos and Xaxus, maybe one of them in the process and the other had made it out, but they got the objective, it could have worked out. Especially considering there's no Nexus turret. But, they decided to go for the team fight, decided to try and make that play, and, end up losing Jankos, puts a big stall button on their siege. And we're just going to need to see how they actually break this one down.
Well, everybody is back in the lanes for Roccat. Going to push this one through. Baron buff still on them, only for another sort of 10-15 seconds though. That's going to wear off very soon. So that won't be available on this push. Big minion wave in the top lane. Cotnex is going to defend that one off, but Roccat realize that. They know that they can cause a bit of pressure on towards them. They have to try and make it count now. Xaxus caught out there, leaps away. Not going to happen this time around.
Yeah, but Celaver's off on the side lane, so if anyone from MILLENIUM jumps onto him, he could be in trouble. The 4-man stack from Roccat, definitely setting their sights on an inhibitor. There goes Jree!
Oh, didn't want that one, that's for sure. Kicks him away. Mega Inferno Bomb not doing the damage it should do. And coming around the site, Celaver, oh, he's not caught out. Has to Valkyrie away. Gets out just alive. But look at the Nexus. The super minions are coming in towards that turret. Roccat are just keeping them busy here. Cotnex, if MILLENIUM lose out this fight, they will lose out their base. Kevin's taking up all the damage, but there is a Jack just beaten on his backside. He goes down. Cotnex, he can't even get involved. He can't even tank the super minions. He's too low on health. The rest of Roccat can move in and finish the game.
It looks like they may want to. There's a 65-second death timer on Kevin. Xaxus has teleports available, so he can rejoin the fight for the potential final push. Celaver has lifesteal stole. Got a lot of HP back from minions as he gets the bottom inhibitor turret, and Roccat may be setting themselves up. Xaxus has rejoined the fight.
Inhibitor going down. Jankos and Overpow on towards that one. That middle wave. Bottom wave is also being punished. You can see Celaver putting the damage down on towards him. Overpow gets that one down. Super minions continue following through. They're in the top lane. They're in the middle lane. Roccat keep on pushing through. That one Nexus turret just needs a quick breath of air. There it is. He's going to see going towards it. Xaxus takes down that bottom inhibitor. He's going to move on through MILLENIUM in desperate fails. Now, Kevin, 24 seconds until he respawns. Roccat keeping the pressure on towards MILLENIUM. Cotnex doing what he can in defensive duties. Still no Dark Binding will land the MILLENIUM.
I'm not sure
Roccat the nail, but I don't think they can do it.
Roccat haven't got the memo that you've got to hit the Nexus, and they finally jump in. Jree's down. This is the final fight.
Can they keep them at bay though? The culling coming out from Creaton has a lot of damage on it, but just not focused. Kerp gets caught out. Sonya's hourglass pop there. Celaver does go down, but Kerp will follow. Jankos now. Kevin respawns. Get out there, but good. Lock up with the Rune Prison. Overpower trying to catch on towards him. A lot of damage back and forth. They need to keep the super minions off this Nexus. For now, MILLENIUM survive.
Roccat need to hit the damn Nexus if they want to finish the game. They dwindled, they waited, they tried to get the super minions up before committing to a fight or before committing to blowing the Nexus up. And because of that delay, it allowed MILLENIUM to get a lot of damage down onto Roccat and for Kevin to respawn. So that ends up giving them a 4v2 for a few minutes time. You can see Roccat have regrouped, they've spent some of their money, and they may want to reapply the siege. There's still fairly high death timers on the side of MILLENIUM. Roccat just really struggling to get that final hurdle dealt with in Creaton. He can't even deal with the super minions.
Yeah, he's struggling here. He needs the help of Kevin. He's pulling him towards the fountain instead, though. Not going to hit the Nexus. The rest of Roccat moving in force here. Xaxus comes around still. Death timers on 3 members. And MILLENIUM having to use everything. Creaton's going to be careful. He gets kicked back on towards the fountain. They're focusing on towards Kevin. Kevin tanking everything up here. They've got to be dangerous here. They're going to go straight on towards the Nexus. Xaxus takes it down. And Roccat takes the win.